On this episode of I Sleep with a Creep, below a creep in this case, not like this dude though. Quick story for you, and I'm probably going to get a lot of wild looks for it, but fuck it. The guy that they're talking about in this article, Matthew Brady, was in Westmoreland County when I was there. We were on different blocks. He was on C block, I was on B block. So I did not know him in the county jail. I just heard this story about somebody on C block, Gilbert graping their celly. So then it came time for me to go to prison. And that means all the blocks in the jail that have people going to prison go down the booking. From there, we all get in the transport van, and that's what takes us to SCI Pittsburgh. The Wall. Western Penitentiary. Yeah, we don't do no kiddie camps where I come from. All this gay dorm shit I be seeing. Check a penitentiary out. There's a difference. Anyways, so I ride with him on the van on the way to SCI Pittsburgh, right? So I realize who he is. I get a weirdo celly at Pittsburgh. They almost transfer me on accident, if you remember that story. And then they take us all to Camp Hill. When you get to Camp Hill, you got to go to our block for a week of quarantine where they do classification. Tell me how on our block they bring this motherfucker to my cell. Matthew Brady, the Gilbert Graper booty taker. So now I'm faced with a dilemma. Do I crash out on this dude? Because he's a chomo on top of it. I know he ain't Gilbert graping me. He'd have to take this cold. But we already quizzed him on the ride to Pittsburgh, and I already know that he's a chomo. The case had something to do with his nephew. He's a certified creep. He got an 8 to 20 year sentence. I will give it to him though. He's the only chomo in the history of me going to jails that when we asked him what he was going to prison for, he put his head down and said, touching. They don't never admit that shit. They say a DUI, a burglary, it's always something and you gotta catch them. He put his head right down because he knew what he was. So anyways, back to my cell. I can crash out on him and I know I'm going to go to the hole. If you know anything about Camp Hill, then you know that if you go in blues before you get classified, you will get lost in the hole. They won't classify you until you get out. I also have triple RI at the time. That takes 3 months off of every year of your sentence, but you have to stay right up free. In Pennsylvania, we do not get good time. We do not get earned time. We don't get pre-release. We don't have none of those things. The only thing that we still have is triple RI. I shouldn't even have had it on my case, but my attorney fought hard for it and got it. But that's a different story too. So anyways, I'm back to contemplating crashing out on this dude. I don't want to get stuck in the twist at Camp Hill where I don't get classified. I really don't want to get these write-ups and lose this time off. And for real, I would have never locked in with him if this was like a permanent, actually going to be my celly. But if you know anything about Camp Hill, you know that you're only on our block for 5 days. So you can judge me, look at me however you want to. I stuck this chomo on the top bunk. Keep in mind, he's about 55, 60 years old. I put him on the top bunk. He did not use the bathroom while I was in the cell. He acted like he hardly ate, but I know it was because he knew I was going to take it anyways. So I left him with whatever food I didn't eat. And he didn't speak to me. He didn't come off the top bunk. When they called him for a pass or something, he would hop down, put his boots on, and go. There was no sitting at the desk. There was no pacing around. There was no talking to me. There wasn't no nothing. It's like he wasn't in there. And I explained that to him very bluntly from the door. You got two options, old head. We can twist and shout, or you can shut up and get in your rack. It's up to you. And that old chomo climbed his ass in the top bunk, and that's where he stayed for 5 days. And then we both got sent over to A block. So after that, I would see him in passing, but that was it. He had an 8 to 20, so he had a nice little stretch in front of him. And everybody knew about this grape allegation with his celly, but they didn't make him a Z code or nothing like I talked about in the video from yesterday. If you SE actual assault your cellies or celly, they will give you a Z code where you have to be housed by yourself. For some reason, even with this case pending, he did not get one. I guess that shows you how much the prison system cares. Good thing he knew I could fight.